Welcome back, everybody, to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. We are here following the WCS Winter Championship to find out the last player to make it to the quarterfinals. Joining me on the desk is Nathanias the Muslim and Maynard. Hello, gentlemen. Our last game features a Polish player. I know the crowd outside are very excited for this one. He's going up against iAsonu, who's already been making waves in this tournament, the Muslim.
Actually, yeah, I'm very surprised by iAsonu, and I'm probably murdering his name. Yeah, like just the first thing. But no, he's done exceptionally well. Like, you often see the Chinese players, they tend to play very aggressive, all-in-y styles, but no, he can go the macro game. Like against TLO, I really thought TLO was in quite good shape right now, especially in ZvZ, but iAsonu kept up with him and did better, so I am very impressed by him, actually.
iAsonu actually has he actually has a very incredible ZvZ. So as much as this crowd and as much as I would like to see Elazer go through, I think that he's not going to make it an easy one. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, iAsonu played a really great straight-up game yesterday, and we talked about how aggressive the Chinese players are, but he had a very more methodical approach to ZvZ than I expected to see out of him, and I think that was just like, it just made it really hard for TLO, because TLO busted out a lot of weird builds that I don't think Elazer is going to use, but still, like, I don't know if you want to cheese this guy.
Talking about good ZvZs, though, like Elazer did beat Bly, who's the guy that 3-0'd Hydra. So if you go by that StarCraft logic, by like player beats
that means he's beaten Hydra.
Then Elazer's just the best player here, man. Yeah. But no, Elazer's really freaking good in this matchup too. So it's going to be close.
Can he perform with the nerves on his shoulder? Because obviously there's going to be, well, there already is a lot of people expecting him, and not necessarily expecting, but hoping that he'll get through. Let's quickly check in with the bracket. As this is, as already mentioned, the last game of the round of 16. As you can see to the bottom right-hand side, the last little part to complete the puzzle, the middle, is Elazer and iAsonu. The winner of this goes up against Hydra. And of course, we have another ZvZ later on today, Violet versus Snoot. And then after this one, by the way, it will be Pult, Firecake, and then of course Huck versus Nurcho to complete the day before we get the top 4, which will play in the Spodek Arena tomorrow. So looking forward to that. But back onto iAsonu and Elazer. iAsonu's got to be going into this, first of all, already banked $6,000. Half the job is already done. And now, well, you know, anything extra, surely is going to be a bonus for him, especially when you look at his past results. This is, you know, he's going to go out all out.
Once you got the ball rolling, though, in a tournament, once you've taken your first victory or two, like that's when things are, you're getting comfortable. Like, yes, he has to sit in front of the stage, but the Chinese players seem very comfortable when they do sit in front of these stage-like audiences. And yeah, it's gonna be tough for Elazer.
I think the coolest part about this that we kind of touched on a bit is just like the crowd aspect, right? Because now we have a Polish player going up there. They were doing the wave for America versus Korea.
Yep.
How crazy are they going to get now? Elazer going up there, especially if he takes that first map win and gets the momentum going early on in a series like this. That's even more pressure on the players.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those situations. Like Elazer doesn't come across as like the most, like noise gets him going. You know, like. With all that pressure on him to win, because everybody in that room wants him to win, one like bad move in the game that can make you go like, ah, like everybody, like not only is everybody at home watching, but everybody out here is watching and cheering for you, and it's very nail biting.
And how do you think he's going to do under that, though? All seriousness. Well, he doesn't have that much experience at this type of level.
It's hard to tell. I mean, we'll know after game number 1 if Elazer is the kind of guy that where the crowd energy and that pressure from the crowd feeds him, or actually, you know, makes him play worse. Because it very well could be detrimental. We'll never know.
Well, a big game for both sides, really, here. Let's go to predictions, then, Mina. Let's just start with you. Where do you think this one's going?
I'm gonna hashtag believe here and think that the crowd is going to be a good factor for Elazer and that he'll take the series 3-1.
I don't want to repeat both of you, so I just want to say first, I'm favoring Elazer here.
Man, as soon as he said it, I was like, man, I hate following a guy that I'm absolutely going to say the exact same thing.
That happened to me all day yesterday, by the way.
But yeah, like
because I was standing where you were standing, and I was like,
yeah, when you're the last one in line. But anyhow, if Elazer plays anywhere remotely as good as he plays online, he's taken this at least 3-1.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to head to the stage to introduce the 2 players that are left in the round of 16.
Thank you very much, Apollo there on the desk, of course. We are back on the main stage. We are ready for our final game of the round of 16. These 2 men have battled their way through from a very, very stressful round of 32, and both already made their mark. But I've got a feeling the crowd might have a favourite. One man is from China, and one is from Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the last round of 16 players, iAsonu and Elazer. Okay, gents, good luck, have fun. Please take your positions. And we'll head over to the commentator's desk for our final game of the round of 16.
All right, thank you, Red Eye. I'm here, joined by Spicy Banana.
Oh, please.
And we're going to... That's it, man. It's done.
Is this the end?
Spicy Banana, I'm a little bit jealous.
Has it been decided already?
Yeah, it's cool. It's way cooler than my name.
All right. This will be my name for the event, at least. Let's go with that for now.
All right, well, guys, I mean... if Artosis has taught me anything, the power of just being able to improperly name someone, like Idra, it actually can echo through time and space.
I guess it does have a lot of power, you know?
His name was Idra, but Artosis...
The High Templar?
Yeah, well,
Templars?
Yeah, there's that. I think he says Z a lot as well.
Z?
Yeah.
Just randomly says Z?
He's from Maryland area, so it's really hard for them to speak normally. But anyways, we have an awesome ZvZ coming up here. I'm really excited about it. As you can tell by the predictions and the discussion, here's the audience.
Hey guys, awesome to have you in the crowd.
Yeah, well, they can't hear you. Well, you know what? They can. Never mind.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
By the way this thing works.
They've got all kinds of technology. One is from Poland. It's Elazer. He's been really red hot in the ZvZ matchup. He's been doing very, very well in that European scene where we've been talking a lot about his skill, and he might be riding the momentum here.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see also what iAsonu can do up against this guy. Obviously, the favorite, everybody on the desk was saying it, Elazer. He's in Poland. This could not be more one-sided in a way. But this guy is actually a really strong player, and he showed fantastic ZvZ against TLO. So even though everybody's saying that Elazer might win, it's definitely not going to be super one-sided.
I tend to agree with you. iAsonu, or as the Muslim says, iAsonu, did upset a lot of people, taking out TLO. But here we do have pictured Elazer, young man, 18 years old, and he's been around for a little while. When I say a little while, I do mean that last year he was a part of the WCS system as well, placing fairly well. But this is kind of his breakout performance, qualifying for this tournament. Rotterdam was talking a lot about this, going, I believe it was 8-0 in matches in ZvZ. And again, in Europe, where there's some really, really good Zergs. But here we go. We have I just made fun of Demuzzle, but then it gets stuck in my head. iAsonu, anyways, or IA, coming out of China. He's going to do battle this guy. Do you favor them? They're all saying 3-0. Elazer, you think it's going to be one side like that, or what do you think? Not what you hope. What's your prediction?
My prediction here, definitely going to have to echo those guys and be 3-1.
Okay.
I think iAsonu definitely has the power to take one game, but I think overall, especially what we saw from the series between Elazer and his opponents there in the round of 32 showed that he is definitely one of the best, the very best ZvZ players right now.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Let's go ahead and introduce these guys, starting off at the 12 o'clock part of the map. It is Poland's very own Elazer. Blonde, blue-eyed, beautiful, a handsome man.
And down here in the bottom left, in the blue, his opponent, it is iAsonu.
We'll see. You know, there's definitely bias going on here, guys. Like a lot of us do know about Elazer. We're in his home country, of course. That's a big part of it. But also, you know, we just see him in our local tournaments. The Chinese scene, for better or worse, is a little bit secluded from us. We don't see them in Korean tournaments and Taiwanese tournaments. They kind of have their own insular scene, but with the WCS system the way it is, we're starting to see more of them come over. So I'm excited about seeing, we've seen our gyms, we've seen Zigwa and a few others, but now we're seeing iAsonu. I mean, he's been around too, but, it's cool. It's cool getting that integration.
Yeah, and it's funny watching his games. Generally, when you think about a Chinese player, it's all aggression all the time. You're going Ling Bane, you're trying to kill your opponent before 5 minutes, but when I watched this guy playing against TLO, I feel like he did better on the defense, which is definitely not characteristic of a Chinese player. So definitely trying to change up the way that Chinese players are looked at, I guess, but it's his own style here for sure. But when he was attacking TLO specifically, things were going wrong. TLO was getting great Baneling hits. He was getting hit by corrosive biles. It was just not going well. But when he could set up a concave, prepare, and just be ready and be smart about the way he took engagements, he was very good at it.
Yeah, I do have to agree. And I was going to say, I was even going to beg your pardon and slow your roll, because while he did defend very well, he was also aggressive. Not like all-out aggressive. That's certainly not how he won the series. As you said, there was some great defense in there, but I did see a lot of aggression. In fact, I think that's part of the reason why I kind of like Elazer in this matchup, just because he faced Bly, who's kind of the European version of Chinese Zergs, and that he's just all about the attack, all about the aggression. But we do see a Baneling nest going down here for iAsonu, which is going to indicate, I mean, it certainly can be defensive, but a lot of times, depending on what they scout, it ends up being an aggressive stance.
Yeah, this is an interesting way to play this one. He's definitely trying to avoid getting scouted right now. In fact, pushing out his queen right now to push away the Overlord specifically so that Elazer has no idea what he's going for. This is definitely going to be a speed Bane all in on 2 bases, just trying to kill Elazer here. This is going to be interesting to see if Elazer can figure this out.
Yeah, and it's interesting. He does push off the queen, or the Overlord, excuse me. It kind of was doing it on its own, but blocking the ramp. And this to me is always like, what a cool move, because certainly you don't want them in your base. But if I'm iAsonu, and I see that, no, Elazer, excuse me, I can't actually see the coach from here, but yeah, it's Elazer. If you pull up the ramp and you see a queen already there blocking, you're like, hey, bro. It's either like mega fast roaches or probably the more common one, as we can see here, speedlings coming out.
Yeah, and we already have Elazer making a bunch of lings right now. He's going to have his own ling speed as well. And a couple of these banelings are going to get caught out here.
Yeah, he's going to get, it looks like one of them. That's a nice little pickup so far in the defense for our red Zerg here, Elazer, but he's going to pull back. That third hatch, of course, completely useless. He's going to have to make his defense inside his home up in the main. It gets canceled. Baneling hits about 5 or 6 Zerglings there. That's a good start for the blue Zerg. And iAsonu's going to back off. He's kind of happy with the cancellation. It looks like he might go for the ramp, but by backing off, the ramp is super defensible now.
Oh, and look at this. The lings get trapped at the bottom of the ramp, and now it's only queens on the ramp.
Yeah,
looks like there is going to be one transfuse.
Transfuse behind that, I believe, and he's going to space out. There's the transfuse, and he's going to defend that. And I have to question the decision to go back down the ramp. Like, he saw lings and just immediately was like, you know what, I'm out of here. But by doing that, it kind of narrowed his choices. So maybe he's happy with that. In my book, yeah, and we can see here by Funka doing a beautiful job. It is, in fact, the drone lead for Elazer, and he's got to be happy with that defense.
Yeah, he's going to be in a fantastic position here. iAsonu still has this Baneling nest, so no counter-aggression really is going to do any damage at all. That is why we do see Elazer going for only drones here. And funnily enough, iAsonu is going to try to follow this up here. He is making, it looks like, an extra hatchery somewhere. No, actually, that's Elazer over here. And
that's the one. He wants the 3-hatch opening. He's going to just kind of redo it, and with that defense, he feels strong enough to do it. A little bit of a skirmish on the low ground here, trimming down the numbers of the aggressive Zerg, which is nice. Queen's going to anchor the attack, or excuse me, defense here. A couple of Banelings coming in, but not a convincing number. And that, seeing 2 Banelings morph like that tells me it's like, you're harassing me. You're not all ending. You're not coming after me. This is you wanting me to make a mistake. And again, I feel like Elazer's in a very comfortable spot.
Yeah, I was actually mixing up the colors here.
Okay, good.
That's a big mistake, you know.
Thank you. You're backing me up with that. I appreciate it.
I thought that was Elazer, actually, that was heavily droning there, but that was actually iAsonu trying to catch up here.
There's just a cacophony of Zerg, just you know, genitals and limbs just flying around. It gets really confusing for us.
Yeah, for sure. iAsonu here getting supply blocked as well. Not the best situation here. Going to have to make a couple of Overlords. Can't really make any units right now.
And that's one of the things that'll separate kind of the good Zergs from the great. Not to harp on this too much, because we don't write him off just yet, but he was out there trying to get some harassment going. I think he felt like his attack initially did put him a little bit behind. He was correct. So he's trying to get something done, but when you skip, or excuse me, miss even an Overlord or 2, all of a sudden that gap that was 5 or 6 supply becomes 12 now that we have. And supply in mirror matchups is really important, but I feel in ZvZ it's actually even a bigger indicator. It's huge.
Yeah. We do see a couple of queens now out on the map trying to push away an Overlord. Have to be a bit careful here with some lings, but he's got a big force of roaches right behind this. Looks like he was trying to sneak those across the map by pushing away the Overlord, but these lings are going to spot those roaches.
Even a couple of cheeky Banelings over there. They're not going to get anything accomplished. They're going to back up. I know we've been seeing a lot of Zergs, by the way, do that upgrade with the Overlord where they can just drop things off, drop a couple of Banelings in there. It's a huge part of why, actually, some of the ZvZs went the way they did yesterday. Maybe he was thinking about that, but not going to do it. Third base for iAsonu does finish as well. But again, the supply differential is pretty big. And again, we're seeing a 6 going on. Yeah, it's going to be a 6 drone disadvantage for the blue Zerg right now, which is not game-ending, by the way, and that's going to kind of seesaw back and forth. For me, the bigger deal is, as you pointed out, the Roach is already out, and Elazer building on the really convincing mid-game army.
Yeah, we do have an Overseer coming in the back there. I think he did see those Overlords morphing into drop Overlords, so is going to have to prepare his defenses against any kind of drops that might come into his main. Would expect maybe a roach drop possibly, and maybe try to attack a bunch of places. He was doing that a lot against Bly, actually, was just defending, or he would attack one area and at the same time drop in the back door. And obviously Dust Tower is one of these maps, just like Orbital Shipyard. It does have this backdoor base.
Oh my god, Orbital Shipyard, did you say that?
Yes, it is.
Just reached into the past like that. I like that a lot. You can see the Overlord speed upgrade, I believe, for Elazer as well. His Overseers are hauling butt around. And as you said, the drops are incoming. Great harass tactics. Used to be tunneling claws that you do to get into those bases. Still obviously an option, but this is kind of the more inexpensive and earlier version of doing this. And on this map, as you said, also very good in the fact that that natural and main are kind of tucked away from the third where the army's probably amassing. But iAsonu reacting to this really nicely. He is going to move into position to deflect that. Of course, that's not the main thrust of the attack. We have a 30-odd supply advantage for Elazer, and he's going to push his advantage here.
Yeah, really when you want to go for these drops, you want to be attacking at the same time. So the bulk of his army, as you were saying, was not attacking just yet. So he's going to try to attack the front right now while dropping in the back and maybe even the main at the same time.
Yeah, the Elazer's all over the place right now. We're going to begin that dance of corrosive bile lobbing up and down at the opposing armies. But iAsonu, to his credit, by the way, he was behind and is behind, but he's doing a pretty darn decent job of kind of holding his ground right now. He's down 20-ish supply, which again is a big deal, and as we can see here from Funka, it's not in drones. Not really, it's 5, of course, but it's mostly an army, which does mean that Elazer's going to take this advantage. He was kind of probing, seeing if he could get an attack. Not going to commit to it, takes a 4th, and I really like that decision.
Yeah, this is one of those maps, definitely very hard to attack up that third base ramp, so just going to try to harass by taking that 4th base at the same time. We do have these drops going on here as well, a couple of roaches in the back base and 4 in the main, getting a nice amount of damage done here.
The main is the nice one here, gets a drone or 2, but for the most part, again, iAsonu was in position here to receive this, so just kind of trading in and out drones. We do see them taking different 4ths, and I've been seeing this actually throughout the tournament. Now, Spicy Salmon, when you expand, do you like to favor the low ground 4th, or do you take the high ground 4th? What's your thoughts on that?
It definitely depends on the matchup for sure. I think I do like this 4th base for iAsonu. It does get canceled here.
Okay.
But look at this. iAsonu is actually going to try to engage here.
Yeah, iAsonu is in a fantastic position. He's going to ambush the Hydralisk. We're inside the main, a little bit of light harass, but he's going to be able to jump on those Hydras. Those Hydras behind Roaches and Ravagers, great. By themselves, not so much. iAsonu now closing in on the army of Elazer. Elazer again with a supply advantage, and here come the reinforcements. So while it looked like nice position for once, it turned out to be a tarp.
Yeah, coming back from both sides, they're going to completely decimate that army. By the way, at the same time, did drop these roaches in the back door. This is exactly what he was doing against Bly. He's looking so solid in this matchup and looking ready and prepared to take game number 1.
Yeah, 4th base done and mining for Elazer behind this. He can't help but to be maxed at basically all times because he's balling out of control, pushing forward. Has the better composition with his Hydras. It's just a matter of time. iAsonu, it is a best of 5. You're going to have a chance at the next game, but GG is called for now. And Elazer, the home country boy, is going to take home that first game with a big smile on his face.
Really, looking really happy there. You got to hand it to him. Played a fantastic game. Defended that all-in from iAsonu with flying colors. Really did not take any damage at all. And what you guys saw there was kind of just 5 minutes after the fact. Elazer was definitely very, very far ahead. And that's a very comfortable game to take there, and that's going to give Elazer a lot of confidence if he was feeling any nerves.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you, Spicy Salmon. Like one of the things that we've been noticing throughout the tournament, for me at least, what I've been kind of looking closely at is it's no new story. Nerves and making mistakes. It's a big part of what kind of separates these players. When I'm looking at Elazer, who's favored against iAsonu, I think by all accounts, I look at like what happens when he pulls ahead. Does he try to rush to ending it? Does his money spike up? Is he falling apart a little bit because he senses blood in the water? And in this game, I say no. He took a 4th. He calmly pulled back. He didn't get the attack he wanted. He picked up his harass and came back to it, and that's when he was killing 5, 6, 7 drones as opposed to 1 or 2. So I'm seeing these young guys making the decisions they would sitting in their underwear at home, comfortably playing the game, and now doing it on a stage, playing for thousands of dollars, huge points.
Yeah. Look at this. He's like pointing at someone at the crowd. He's like, hey there.
Devil. He saw a grill.
Yeah, he's like, I'll meet you after this game after I 3-0 this fool.
Man, it's going to be no time at all.
He looks so confident in that booth. It's really refreshing to see someone who's really just taking control of this crowd. It seems like he's gathering the energy from the crowd as well. Just not, as we were talking about before, some players can get nervous. I think it's definitely the opposite effect here for Elazer.
Yeah. And on the flip side, we saw iAsonu in his booth. I don't think he looked particularly super shaken. He's been here before. Any time these guys come over to these different places and play, they're going to be the underdog. We don't know them. These are our hometown heroes. You're going to be discounted. And how do you react? And yesterday, he rose up and beat TLO, one of the most prolific StarCraft 2 players that we've had, and certainly European. And now he faces kind of a young buck, a much lesser-known player, but one that's been churning out more impressive results. So that was only one game, and it's worth noting, too, he was way behind at the beginning. He tried a tactic that just simply didn't work, but he was able to get himself in a place where certainly he was always behind, but he was kind of he was doing okay for a minute there, so he's got to have some confidence in that.
Yeah, he's definitely not a guy to just sit back and accept the loss. He was out on the map trying to make things happen. The defense of all the roaches was fantastic as well. Just the scout timing with the Overseer in the back door, scouted all the techs, saw the lurkers coming. He wanted to hit before that was there, but he also saw the drop coming, so he defended against that. Tried to hit Max and then hit before the lurkers, but didn't quite work out. Got caught in the middle of the map, small mistakes here and there. And definitely has a very good idea of how to handle this ZvZ matchup.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of why he was able to take those games against TLO.
All right, Spicy Salmon, before we introduce these players, real quick, we're going to do a mental exercise.
Okay.
You are iAsonu's coach. He just lost that first game. You step in the booth. What do you tell him?
I say, don't go for another all-in. It's a big map.
Okay.
Take a step back. I'm telling him to take a breather.
I like it.
Take a deep breath. Play your game. You are a good player. And take it from there.
Well, I like it. I like it a lot. So let's go ahead and introduce these players in the lower right-hand side. You can hear the crowd getting into it. It is Poland's Elazer.
Elazer. I like the way you say that.
Elazer.
And up in the top right, his opponent in the blue from China, it is iAsonu.
Poland, we love you. You guys are so cool.
Yeah.
We experienced this last year too. We were like really touched by it. But even when a Polish player's playing somebody else, they cheer for the other guy too. I think that's so cool. It's such a good spirit to be a part of. We love coming back here. And now we focus. Spicy Salmon. I'm going to be honest with you, by the way. I'm a little bit sad that Spicy Banana did not win. I think that's actually the better name.
Well, no name has won yet. Jeff, it's basically whatever you want it to be, Jeff. You can call me Spicy Salmon, Spicy Banana.
Well, I wish that were true. We're going off what the chat wants. The chat wanted Spicy Salmon. You're part of Team Salmon, so it just makes sense. But we do see a little bit of an aggressive opening coming out from Elazer. He's going to opt instead of a hatch first or anything like that. We're actually seeing a lot more of this, by the way. And when I say we, I mean the uninformed masses, which I count myself a part of with ZvZ. But it used to be all about hatch first versus like 12-15 pool. Now it seems to be a lot of speedling openings. And I think it's because a lot of these maps have more wide open naturals.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I'm glad you point that out because it's going to be almost impossible to defend this hatch. In fact, I think it is going to be impossible. But I love how he's feeding off the energy. He's like, okay, I'm going to bust this guy down with an aggressive all-in, take it right back to iAsonu, just try to kill him off really early here. And when you beat a guy in game one so convincingly after he tried to sneak a win against you, if you can take a game two like this, you are just going to be so far ahead in the mental game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we do see obviously a higher Zergling count here for Elazer applying that pressure. The hatchery is close to completion, so we're going to have that decision in a second here. And with the queen on the low ground, I think he's actually going to keep it. He is. And he's going to try to defend. Now, speed will finish for Elazer first, but not too far behind that will be iAsonu. If you look at that mini-map, not a lot of Zerglings coming across the map, but we do have Banelings, so the aggression will continue. And there's more Zerglings there.
Yeah, I love how he's taken this one. He's taken nice trades. He's got that hatch down really, really low. He's hidden these Banelings up until this point as well, which is very, very important. No Baneling nest for iAsonu, and here come the Banelings.
And the queen dies as well. Oh, a Baneling hit kills everything, and with that, iAsonu... I was thinking up cool one-liners to talk about how it's not impossible to hold that base, but unfortunately, Spicy Salmon's going to be correct. Another queen's going to die in the ramp. More Zerglings dying, and with it, we are about to see a 2-0 advantage for the hometown boy here. I cannot imagine a scenario where iAsonu comes back from this.
Unbelievably one-sided game here. You can see iAsonu trying to go for the defense, but not much hope here. The hatchery does go down. And in fact, the Elaser's just going to back off here. He's going to take his own hatch. I think he could just kill iAsonu here, but deciding to take it slow and safe.
I mean, it's such a bad spot. We have a Baneling Nest going down for iAsonu on the back end of this. It's going to be quite a bit later. He has to make more lings just to survive. He knows that hatchery's planted, so he himself is in a weird kind of all-in situation. Losing those queens means he doesn't have any injects. Like, I can go on, guys, but it just gets more depressing. Like, the supply differential doesn't really tell the tale. It's just how far behind iAsonu is. Now, iAsonu's going to be out on the map. He's occupying his attention. He's wanting him to make a mistake or something, but again, there is an Overlord and some lings kind of outside that natural, and he's chasing and actually grabbing a few lings in the middle of the map to make matters worse is Elazer. He's just doing that thing where he's just getting more ahead, basically.
Yeah, and even that one Overlord looks like it is going to go down to the Queen, so basically nothing going right now for iAsonu. And look at this, Elazer's just going to turn right back around. I think he has enough defense back at home. He's going to deny this hatchery right at the timing of the drone coming down.
Well, like, that's bad, but I had a flash where it's that thing where you just put it down and all their claws wrap around at that second and it just instantly dies. But unfortunately for iAsonu, it's just not getting much better. Baneling connection there, but kind of a paltry trade. Elazer's going to be happy with that. Supply difference increasing in favor of Elazer as the game goes on, because again, that second hatch is coming into effect. The injects are going to start kind of doubling his ability for production. That's a nice Baneling hit. I want to get more excited about it, but I just can't.
Yeah.
It's too little. It's too late.
Yeah, it's really about the follow-up here for Elazer. Even though he's taken decent trades there with his lings, he's almost like showing off at this point, you know?
The two wounded Zerglings hit the Baneling, disengage. The two healthy Zerglings are like, what are you doing? Baneling blows up in their face. That's just, you can't win.
Yeah. And as I was saying, the follow-up here with the roaches is just going to be unbelievable. Yeah. He has so much more larva production for so much longer, more drones, more economy. He's going to have a bunch of roaches in the face of iAsonu here in just a minute. And we see iAsonu desperately trying to get some nice trades off here, but failing to do even that at this point.
There it is. Thank you, Funka. If this could get any sadder, it's a spine crawler that can't burrow. He's just
poor guy.
Further away from the hatcher too. I think he'll realize in a second.
He's trying to escape and join Elazer's team. He's like, I've had enough of this team.
He's like, I'll waddle at them or something. I don't know. Queen's migrating across the lands. I mean, the other thing here too, and this is so tough because it's like, look, iAsonu is so dead, but it's a single elimination tournament. He's going to do everything he can. And at this point in time, yeah, little silly things look a lot worse, but what? I mean, he's got nothing to lose. Like, he already lost as far as he's concerned, and the rest of us are, so why not? Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Fight.
Well, we do have the Eternal March coming across the map, that slow and steady one that never ends. The Queen's trying to join up with the Roaches. We've got a couple of Banelings here, hoping to connect with the Banelings of iAsonu. Elazer up 31 supply at this point.
Yeah, and then ZvZ, that's death. Baneling's going to try to do what they can, but here come the Queens. The Jeks go down. And iAsonu, you're going to start wanting to think about game number 3 here, because you are dead. GG is called out. Elazer marches to a confident and very easy 2-0.
Look at him shaking his head. He's like, wow, I didn't really expect it to be this easy. And even speaking for myself, I didn't expect it to look this one-sided, to be honest.
Not like this. I mean, a lot of predictions of 3-0, 3-1, that kind of thing. So certainly everyone had it in their head that iAsonu had a long ways to go. I got to ask you, though, so it's 2-0, looking really good. If he wins this, he's into that quarterfinals. He's got another $2,000 for a total of 8, some WCS points. So my question to you, Spicy Salmon, is how many pierogies can you buy with $8,000? There is actually an answer to this.
Yeah, there is an answer. Let me take out my phone quickly and do the calculation.
Okay. Go ahead, take as much time as you need.
Yeah, they're doing it in the crowd too. They're typing on their keyboards.
Thing, yeah. Okay, how many pierogies?
The answer is 14,000.
Incorrect. It was 7 million. But to be honest, you were not that far off, considering. You know what I mean?
I guess so. I mean, it was above 7,000 at least.
Yeah, but not over 9,000. Crowd loving it. We also have another Polish player coming down the pipe. Nurcio will face off against Huck. It is 2 players we've been talking about for a long time. Going to be a great one. A lot of great matches, guys. This is only finishing out the round of 16. We will jump right into that round of 8 and then put ourselves in position for the semifinals and finals tomorrow.
Yeah, those are going to be really fantastic matches. I think everybody looking from the outside in was looking at this matchup and saying, hey, that's probably the most one-sided one. But you got to hand it to this guy. He's made it this far. He was able to defeat TLO, as we were talking about before. And it is not over, even though it did look so unbelievably one-sided in those two games. The same could be said for the first game of TLO versus iAsonu. I mean, he crushed iAsonu. iAsonu went for a big roach timing, and TLO shut it down easily. And then iAsonu won 3 in a row. So can he come back from here? He's on the big stage. It seems like he's feeling a bit of nerves. I'm not sure. He's playing against a guy here in the booth that's got his home crowd. He's feeling the energy. He's playing unbelievably good right now. So it's definitely going to be very hard.
That's right. And I'm going to have to tune my brain down from making an inappropriate joke off the tail end of that. There we go. Let's introduce the players. Top right-hand side, the people are already getting ready to cheer for him. I don't have a nameplate, so I'm pretty sure this is Poland's Elazer.
Yeah. Down at the bottom left, in the blue, from China, trying to win 3 in a row to come back. It's going to be iAsonu.
All right. What could be a very fast series. As you said, you know, it's time to turn it around if you're iAsonu, and it can be done. ZvZ, a little bit of a volatile matchup. If you get any of those pros interviewed, you know, with Red Eye or on the couch like yesterday and the day before, they all say the same thing. They're like, how'd you feel about this? They're like, well, I was really confident, but it is ZvZ. Like, we all accept there is a little bit of, I'm going to do this opening, but there is a hard counter to this, and it's really difficult. And that's kind of the nature of mirror matchups. It's kind of fun that way.
Yeah, it's kind of funny also how that saying, what you were saying, oh, it's ZvZ. That's been said since 2010, or maybe even before, you know. It's crazy how this has been the most volatile matchup for such a long time. And even though it is very volatile, we do see some players do come ahead at the end of it. Here, Elazer doing quite well so far to show off his ZvZ skills. I was really impressed by what he was doing against Bly even. He's got such a fantastic understanding of the matchup. You know, when Bly was going for certain scouts, he was trying to tip him off with gas timings, and he's like, oh, now Bly's going to think I'm going for this timing, or I'm trying to go for Spire or whatever. And then he shoves it all in down his throat, and it's like, okay, well, this guy obviously has a lot of great ideas about how to play this matchup, and he might be able to do the same here on this map. It's going to be Orbital Shipyard.
Yeah. And I do have to say, like, Elazer in that Bly matchup in particular, we did see a lot of mind games. I thought it was pretty cool. Both those guys play against each other, practice quite a bit. We saw a little bit more of the spectrum of ZvZ, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but so far, Elazer has been kind of the more masterclass to iAsonu. Like, we haven't really gotten outside of the early stages. In game number 1, it was iAsonu that went for that aggression that just did not work at all, and the defense of Elazer was really strong. And then game number 2, it was the reversal. It was the defense of Elazer versus the offense of iAsonu. Or no, excuse me, I said that wrong. Elazer's offense versus iAsonu's defense. And that was an outclassing as well. So, and anytime you see like different facets of the same matchup and one guy is just consistently head and shoulders above the other, you start to get a little bit morose about the odds of the other guy, and you get to be impressed of Elazer. He's looking good.
Yeah. I think this is the same build that iAsonu did do against TLO. It just looks like a safe Baneling nest into transferring into drones once he knows that his opponent is not going for an all-in, and then he takes a slightly later third. So this was kind of my idea when you asked me what would I say if I were the coach of iAsonu, if I had to go in that booth. I'd say take a step back, play very safe, and just try to go for the late game, because we haven't really seen that yet between these two.
Yeah, but you gave really crappy advice the other time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it really did not work out.
Spicy salmon, you did fine. It's okay. iAsonu has a tall order ahead of him. I mean, this guy is a bit of a ZvZ specialist. Would have liked to have seen, and it's kind of funny actually. If iAsonu does go on to lose here, all we saw was ZvZ from him. Maybe he would have been like, "Hey, yo, I had the sickest ZvT and ZvP prepared." We would have never known, but
he would have never gotten to show us.
No,
and that's kind of sad for sure.
Much. Yeah, a little tear, a single tear will fall from the eye. Elazer's Zerglings will pour into here. He was looking at the hatcheries, just going to get some information, sees the queen coming down, and a couple of banelings, which is also decent information. Lets him know that that is a potential. He has his own roach horn, and I love this position for him. He's going to skip the baneling nest entirely. It doesn't offer him anything of a harass option at this point in time, and a lot of times you'd be like, well, defensively it's nice, right? Yeah, but Roaches are 100 times better. They do both roles very much so better.
Yeah, and I'm already beginning to see the future right now. I'm looking asking my giant 8-ball right now. I'm saying, what's going on here? And Elazer, he's looking like he wants to go for just that kind of standard play that we've been seeing. He's been getting these tiny little advantages, like trading very well with the Banelings, and now he's like, okay, I got my Roaches. Here's the Evolution Chamber. He might get +1, but I think this is mainly going to be for drops. He did this against Bly on this very map. That backdoor base is so vulnerable if you don't have any defense there, and it can be very hard to scout. There's so much dead airspace above that, so he could even come on the right side to the main base as well. There's definitely many different angles you can drop and harass on, and I think Elazer's going to try to do that here in this matchup.
James Bond Zergling. Oh, he's found. Okay. Gonna take on the Queen. Not gonna work out so well. A little bit of a math equation there. I do like what you're saying, though, and I can see that happening. I mean, Elazer already showed kind of a preference towards that, and we've actually seen a few Zergs go for the drop strategy. It must be something going on in the meta, which is pretty cool. For all the reasons you said, there's a lot of these wide open maps that kind of give negative space outside of expansions, which give you the area to drop in without being scouted too much. But also, Roach Ravager is the composition. We do see some mutas, but I think quite a bit less than HOTS. I'll wait until TLO tweets at me that I'm an idiot to find out one way or the other, but for right now, that is going to be law.
And you know that's coming, too.
Yeah.
It's coming. Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing some mutas, but definitely not the standard, like you were saying. And we are seeing some of these drops loaded up right now. We got a couple of drops, and it does look like iAsonu, he at least got the speed for his Overlords. I don't think he's morphed any of them just yet, but he may have been having the same idea, but I think he's a little bit behind Elazer right now.
Yeah, both thinking pretty similar things, though, as Funka shows us. Overlord speed for both players. It will be Elazer that moves out first here. The worker supply has evened out. He actually spent most of this game again, by the way. Here's the thing that's kind of funny, too, that Overseer comes ripping through, going about 75 miles per hour, or as Europeans say, 200 kilometers per hour. And it's just moving so fast, it kind of has to make you think, I don't think he got that upgrade just for Overseers. I feel like there's going to be some Overlords as well. I wonder if that does tip off Zergs. It would be, I think.
Yeah, I think so, especially when you see that many heading out there. You do want to spread them out for vision, but knowing Elazer, if iAsonu did any studying at all, he would know this is coming. He's only got one Queen, but he is moving some Roaches now into the back door.
He'll be fine. He saw it coming. If he's not fine, he's got only himself to blame. We have an Overlord dropping on that base, though. There is some Roaches. Are they paying attention? Come back, boys. You will be needed.
Yeah. Even though it seems like Elazer has found a nice little angle over here. He's going to get 3 drones for now. He's really just trying to focus them down. iAsonu does have a lot of units nearby to defend. So.
Love the pickup, though. I love the pickup, too. And then he's just going to move in there. But iAsonu seems to have more Roach count. Ravager good, but kind of in larger numbers. iAsonu going to play it safe, does pull back. And here's the combined drop, jumping on top of those Roaches, getting a decent hit here. 4 are about to pop for iAsonu on that spot. The Spinecrawler doing some work as well.
Yeah, that's really cool, though, just combining the 2 drops for extra damage. And at the same time, you could see he's trying to pressure that 4th base, but not going to be successful. I think iAsonu is actually handling these drops pretty well. He is losing some drones here and there, but supplies are even. The timing of the 4th bases are very, very similar. And he just lost the full Overlord of 4 Roaches, so iAsonu, the sharpshooter.
Shuffleboard champion of China, launching and getting the hits. Now Hydra's coming out again. I have to agree with you for the most part. Situation-wise, if you look, supply a little bit in favor of Elazer, but for the most part, similar things. Hydras, however, add a big difference. If they can get behind this, oh god!
Oh no, this is a big mistake. All of these units totally out of position, and iAsonu is going to jump on that and take a bunch of them out.
He did, and that supply I was talking about, yeah, it's in favor of iAsonu now. He's going to push forward. He will duck and dive away from the single corrosive bile, and the drops, kind of a thing of the past. All of a sudden, Elazer, you were fancy, but you're in a little bit of trouble. Shoving forward is the Blue Zerg iAsonu. Supply is equaling out here a little bit, though, and he's got to try to win a big fight here.
Yeah, he has to get those reinforcements coming out of the hatchery here. He's got 13 more Roaches on the way, and he's coming from both sides here, trying to just trap the army of iAsonu. But iAsonu is getting fantastic trades. He's taking out Queens. He's in a great position here.
Yeah, nice job on the back end there with those Ravaged Corrosive Biles, and now he's going to push forward. Not really doing economic damage just yet, but he's enjoying a 50 supply advantage. He's winning the fight right and left. Elazer just got caught off guard a little bit there. It's really unfortunate. He was just trying to move his army over to his 4th, and in doing so, a part of his army didn't get the memo. It was like, we'll go to the low ground. We heard it's dangerous down there, but we're going to do what you told us to do. And it could cost him here. In fact, it looks like it will. He loses the third, and he's way behind.
Yeah, he's trying to fight here at the top of the ramp here, but iAsonu totally maxed out. Has that fourth base up and running, up a base now on Elazer. And GG, there you go. iAsonu is going to win one map here and keep this series alive.
Yeah. And this is that moment in time where, once again, I kind of, as a wizened StarCraft 2 kind of personality, I start to look at these guys and I say, all right, Elazer, he was all smiles and fun when you were dominating this guy. I mean, in the first 2 games, he crushed him. He beat him to a pulp. But game 3, something goes wrong, you lose. How do you recover? Does he come back in game number 4 and seem calm, cool, collected, and just better like he did in the first 2 games, or does this get to him?
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay here. He seems very cool, calm, collected. I think that's one of those games where it's like, oh, I made a mistake. I messed up with my control. A big piece of my army got out of position. That mistake cost me the game. I know I'm still better than this guy. I know I can take the series from him. And I think he's going to come back and be in a good position after this break.
Well, Spicy Salmon, I like your optimism at the very least. Guys, we offer these players a quick break so they can gulp some water, use the bathroom they need to, and just kind of collect themselves. We're going to go ahead and take that break real quick, and when we come back, it'll be the next game. And we are back, about to head into game number 4. Elazer leads 2-1. But if you just woke up or joined us, you missed iAsonu striking back as he took a decisive game number 3 win there. He was, you know, I was going to ask you something. I mean, I was really impressed with Elazer's harass. The drop really kind of gave him that initiative. He was kind of dictating the pace.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he lost. Go ahead. Spicy.
Well, yeah, I mean, the harass is quite nice, but I feel like iAsonu definitely did deal with it quite well. He only lost about 6 drones. It's not all that big of a deal. He didn't lose his 4th base, which is the most important thing there. And he was looking to strike while, you know, a bunch of roaches were harassing, and he was switching into lurkers, you know, yada yada. He wanted to attack Elazer while Elazer was, you know, dropping and teching up.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out here, friend. Let's go ahead and introduce. If I don't introduce these guys, these people will clap their hands chapped. In the lower right-hand side, the red Zerg, it's Poland's Elazer.
And up in the top left, in the blue, his opponent from China, it is iAsonu.
Not iAsonu.
No, the Muslim, get out of here.
You got that wrong. You know, leave it to, I'm sure you'll agree with this, Spicy Salmon. But
I'm really curious to hear what actually Artosis's pronunciation of the name is. When I go back, I'll ask him.
Please.
I'll record it and put it on Twitter.
Just show a list of these players and just be like, how do you do? Now, we have, well, I was going to make some jokes, but let's just go ahead and play it. Spicy Salmon was trying to play it serious here. We do have a hatch first from iAsonu at that natural, and that natural, of course, being a gold base. Now, on the flip side, we have a pool first, then a hatch from Elazer. Now, normally this is like the give and go of ZvZ. It's not that big of a deal, but with a gold base, I feel like that difference is exasperated a little bit. I don't think Elazer's going to be able to apply any pressure, and I do think iAsonu has the better opening here.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. It looks like this is a bit of a safe opening out of Elazer. I don't think he's going to try to transition this into too much aggression. I mean, I suppose he could go for some later aggression or maybe some roaches off a 2-base with the extra minerals. But as you were saying, I think this definitely does help out iAsonu a bit, and he's definitely going to be happy once he does notice where he is at with the build orders.
Yeah, and he is just going to go with the 4 Zerglings, which is very standard. Usually they will do what they can to jump up that ramp and make sure that they have all information. I'm actually kind of, you know, on this map it's a little bit less, but I do like this opening from Elazer. Basically what this is going to allow him to do is get an early, like his build is the safe build. He's good against an early pool, he's good against a hatch first, and with these Zerglings he's going to know what he's facing against, which is pretty good, because what brought him the victory in the first 2 games, it wasn't a cheese, it wasn't an all-in necessarily, it was him playing better than his opponent, and this build kind of gives him the best chance to do that, I feel.
Yeah, get up in the face of your opponent, even try to, you know, take some better traits, show off your skill. It looks like there he has taken a little bit of extra damage, so he's just going to back off. But look at this, he's forcing a reaction at least out of iAsonu. Spinecrawler going to come down here.
And that's playing it pretty darn safe because he has an Overlord just outside the natural of Elazer. Does not see any more Zerglings. Now, of course, there could be a bunch of Speedlings up there amassing, and all of a sudden he's in a lot of trouble. So I guess he figures with that hatch first, why not play it safe? He's going to deny the scouting is Elazer. So that paranoia of sorts is going to set in for our Blue Zerg iAsonu. And, well, it's not like making a Spinecrawler throws him infinitely behind. Both players are also going for Roach Horns here, by the way.
Yeah, that Overlord never even got the scout on the natural, as Funko was trying to show us there. So, as you were saying, you know, it doesn't hurt to play it safe, especially if you don't even know if your opponent took the base that he normally would. So, can't really fault him there. He'll have that Spinecrawler for the rest of the game until it does die, if it does. So, we do see now both of these players taking hatches at very similar timings at the 2nd gold base here. So, this may be a bit of a longer one, Jeff.
Well, yes, a bit longer than what we've seen, at least in game number 1 and 2. Roach is already out, so they're going to be pretty, they're both feeling fairly safe against any kind of Ling stuff. But man, that 2nd gold base is going to be ridiculous. Like we know in the PVZ and TVZ matchup, when a Zerg has those 2 gold bases, it's just a butt crunch, just a ton of roaches, like roaches for days. But when both players are going to have a total of 4 gold bases, the roaches will block out the sun. It'll be infinite.
Yeah, just never-ending roach
They'll become
Ravager.
Legion. Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised. And both players have identified what their opponents are going for here. iAsonu didn't get a specific scout. Oh, he has now, actually, on the Roach Horn. There did see the 2 mining gases and saw that
and he saw the roaches popping out, by the way, which is kind of a big deal because he saw a lack of lair, as you pointed out, and then he also saw the roaches spawning at a time when typically more drones would come out. So this should give him the initiative to know that if he doesn't start producing units right now, he's just going to get ran over and die. And if he can defend with that lair advantage you pointed out, he'll be in a fantastic position.
Oh, a couple of cheeky lings coming over to the third base, going to snipe one drone.
Sees the Ravagers as well. Again, good intel. I don't think you necessarily make 4 or 5 Ravagers at this time defensively. Like, it's not the weirdest thing, but again, I feel like it's typically selling the narrative, I'm coming to attack you pretty soon. iAsonu has been producing units, but still drones. I don't think he really understands what's about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you got 4 Ravagers with the little troop of roaches as well. And look at this, he's going to be able to snipe. Oh, huzzah! Just barely. Overlord is going to survive with 20 health. So that's going to be a nice advantage there for iAsonu. But still only roaches coming out here. And there's not going to be roach speed with this attack. In fact, iAsonu is the one that went for the roach speed himself with his lair. So he's getting that extra attack. But Elazer is focusing on only units.
Well, I mean, this is like basically a 3-base all-in. Even 4 Overlords, that's way over the top. That's so that he can do nothing but produce roaches. He needs to spawn, he needs to inject, and just make stuff. That's what he's doing. 10 lings behind this. Here he comes, and still more drones for Elazer. Elazer now, or excuse me, not Elazer, iAsonu. Now's not the time, bro. You need all the units you can get.
Yeah, well, he's got a nice little concave over here with that spine crawler, but we do see Elazer setting up for the attack. He's got 6 Ravagers, 19, now 18 roaches looking to pressure this third base.
Yeah, he's got fewer roaches, but he has no Ravagers. The roaches do run in on here, though. A couple of strange misfires coming out from Elazer, and the initiative's been taken. All of a sudden, iAsonu jumps on top of that, but does he have the units? Still down in supply. He has to hold here. If he does, he could take this game, but it's not looking good. And unfortunately, he's kind of kiting backwards. It leaves his base exposed, which means it's going to go down in a second.
Yeah, and he keeps corrosive biling the larva here, so no extra reinforcements coming out for iAsonu. And look at this third base has been totally routed. 11 drones going down, and this just may be the game.
This might be it. He's even actually targeting the larva and the eggs, which I think is a really cool move. It's actually kind of interesting because maybe they spawn out there and you want to jump on top of them, but he's saying, no, I'm not going to take any risk. I'm going to just limit the amount of units you can produce. A 30-odd supply advantage for Elazer. The timing attack was scouted. The information was had, but iAsonu just did not react well enough. Sneaking out some drones, that's not what he just couldn't do it.
And now he's really on the back foot, trying to somehow kill Elazer with no third base, and that is a huge third base, as we mentioned before. Elazer now doesn't have the speed, so he can be chased a little bit, but iAsonu doesn't have the units to even attack.
It's a little bit like Han Solo chasing the Stormtroopers in A New Hope. Like, the Stormtroopers at some point kind of realized, like, wait a second, he's just 1, we're like 30, let's turn around and chase him down. But again, I mean, the reason the iAsonu was doing that was because he's like, well, I'm down a hatch. He's got an entire gold base mining on me right now. If we just even out, this game's just going to get worse. Even a few Zerglings getting behind here and going to rip off some flesh from that hatch, but not going to ultimately do that much.
Small, but he's threatening. But look at this. iAsonu going for the split, trying to kill a bunch of drones at that third base and distract at the same time.
Yeah, this is how you use that speed, but he is also taking a little bit of a fight at the front. He can't fight. He actually has a significantly worse army, but killing 10, 11 drones on the back end, that's how you use the speed. You know you're able to get away from this. You saw that much when you were chasing those Stormtrooper red roaches, and now he might have bought himself a little bit of time. You get a look at the drone count. I think it might be a little bit closer. Yeah, only 3 separating. In fact, an advantage for iAsonu.
Yeah, now he's retaken that third base, and now he does have the tech advantage. It does look like Elazer has a lot more units still, and he is slowly getting that roach speed himself, but iAsonu trying to get this +2 out here might help a little bit in the fights if that does come to fruition before the fight does start.
Hey, +2, man, I'll take it. Finds a couple of Zerglings over here, not the biggest of deals, but the entire army showing itself. Now the composition starting to kind of equalize. Again, still a pretty big supply advantage for Elazer, most of that being an army. We saw the drone count was fairly close. Now, gold bases do mine out quickly, too, by the way, taking a look at that as well. So 4th bases will be really important, and right now, Elazer has not taken any 4th base. It's actually iAsonu that's planning for that future right now.
Doesn't even look like he's planning on it. He's just going to continue to make units. He's about to hit roach speed. I believe it is +2 to +1 in terms of the attack upgrades, yes, but look at how many units Elazer has.
He's got a ton. He's got a big army advantage right now. He's going to jump in on top of those Ravagers and Roaches, going in on with that army advantage. Some big hits going around both sides, but again, I think it's just a numbers game. Now a nice dodge coming out from Elazer. He has us around. He's in on the soft underbelly of that army, and it looks like it was, at the end, just kind of a bit of a math equation. And unfortunately for iAsonu, he just didn't have enough moves to kind of make up the difference here. The army battle was won by Elazer. That 30 supply advantage, now 40, now 50. It's lights. It's curtains.
That's going to be it.
GG is called out. Elazer wins 3-1.
Nicely done by Elazer. They're winning on the home turf. He is going to move on to that round of 8, and very well deserved here by the Polish player. Going to come out here with the flag even onto the stage.
Just going to hold my breath. I'd love it if he would just dive off the stage into the audience, opting to play it a little bit safer. He still has more money to be won here. Convincing win, 3-1. I really, and again, we were talking about looking at the decisions made by these players. I love that he got ahead, and instead of just kind of risking his whole army, pulls back and makes it a secure win. So nicely done by Elazer. He's going to head up to that stage and join the venerable Red Eye.
Okay. Got to calm down a little bit after jumping into the crowd. It's just the round of 16 right now, but congratulations. What a great win. Talk me through it.
Well, yeah, it was pretty great. Just the third map wasn't the best, I think.
You've got to give him one map, though, to be nice.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like, I think I had my sound off, so I didn't hear my units dying. That's why.
Right, so you just... hold on. So you're 2-0 up, and you just casually think, you know what, I'll just play him without any sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a small mistake.
Okay, and then the fourth map?
Fourth map was also pretty straightforward. I got like pretty even after the early game, so I was confident in the Roach Ravager battles, and yeah, really straightforward.
Okay. Talk to me about the Polish crowd, playing in front of them. And I don't know if you've noticed, but they're a little bit loud. A little bit loud. And I just wonder, is it the same for you as it is for Mana? When we speak to Mana, he says Polish crowd are basically like an extra pylon. So if they're an extra pylon to Mana, what unit are they to you? What extra unit do they give you?
Ultralisk with 7 armor, maybe?
Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, Elazer. Right, let's find out what Sean and the boys made of that one.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. That is 2 Polish players in the top 8 of this tournament. Successful so far. We'll see how far they can go in this tournament. Well, let's break down that game just a little bit here as we get ready for the quarterfinals. Nathanius, a strong dominating performance from Elazer. iAsonu gave it his best, but unfortunately Elazer proved towards his ZvZ is top notch.
He bowled him over pretty much every game that he was able to win. It wasn't like we really saw the ridiculous... It wasn't like we had Bly builds, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of it came down to just... You watch the ends of those games, it's like, yes, I have more Roaches than you. Somehow I've managed to get better position from my Ravager shots than you. And he just outplayed him. It just looked like he was a class above the whole way through.
Yeah, you play some ZvZ yourself to Muslim. I know, don't shy away from it.
You've seen my stream.
I've seen your stream. And ZvZ can come down to obviously getting, well, I mean, the ideal situation is to not fall behind in your build, and then it does come down to things like positions and run-bys and so on, and he played it perfectly.
Totally, and as we all predicted the 3-1 exactly, you know, all copying Maynard over here, but no, Elazer plays really well. He also does something a little interesting that I haven't seen from a lot of other Zergs in this matchup. Roach droppers.
Yeah.
I totally said it wrong, but I just looked at Nathan.
I was mouthing it to him. I was mouthing it to him.
I was like reading his lips and I just got it wrong. But yeah, Roach drops.
See.
Yeah, he's one of the only guys that does it, and he did it in his matchup against Bly as well. And I spoke to Snoot after the games were done. He's like, that shouldn't really work, but it's actually quite decent if you can get away with it. But Elazer does get away with it.
Yeah, and that was really cool to see, especially on Dust Towers. Like, he's got 2 Roach drops hitting
a lot of
bases.
damage, and also the speed overlords, they just go everywhere. So it's like, which overlord is like dropping me? You just have no idea.
Yeah, it forces a pretty extreme response out of you. Like, you need to do things, drop the spine crawlers, or even if you go spy attack or something like that, maybe change your... Because it just gets in your head. you got four roaches dropping in between mains with speed overlords. Like, it's you don't expect that, and I doubt iAsonu sees it much at all. So yeah, definitely pulled apart.
And it's always so much easier attacking than it is defending drops. Like 4 roaches, you have to split those off out of your army just to defend those ones. You don't know if they're coming or not. So yeah, it's nice.
So here comes the next question, which I think we'll kind of expect in the next match for him. Hydra. It's a big name, difficult match. He's shown his excellence in ZvZ, fair play to Elazer, but this is a bit of a different beast to tackle.
I mean, if Hydra can survive getting into that room with all those Polish fans, you know, like staring him down.
If he even makes it to the stage.
And
yeah, exactly.
It's not the first time either, is it? Because the last time Hydra had to go up against the Polish crowd, per se, didn't do as well. I mean, it's difficult to play against that kind of crowd because obviously the momentum starts to push it towards the other player, and it is like an additional pile-on.
That's exactly what it is. No, but the other thing is, if he beats Hydra, I wish we could say that Hydra is the final boss. He's absolutely not. On the other side is some scary people as well. Like
yeah, I mean, you got Pult on the other side of the bracket, who's obviously looking at the final position from that side too. It's an excellent little bracket we've got. So do you fancy Elazer's chances here? Roddy actually believes in Elazer to be able to beat Hydra.
I mean, the last LAN performance where we saw Hydra fall was to a European Zerg that Elazer has beaten. So if ZvZ is his vulnerability, then this... I mean, I would still favor Hydra personally, but this is probably the best player that he could have to go against among the guys here. Maybe Violet, but probably better than playing against Pult this early.
All right. Final thoughts then before we go to the break and start the quarterfinals.
Hydra's such a monster, man. Like, no matter what situation you put him in, I think he's going to perform. So it's going to be extremely hard for Elazer, but he got through his top 16 easier than Hydra did. So, whew.
All right, 4 games to go then today, 4 quarterfinals coming your way. Of course, we do want to thank the sponsors one more time, of course, thescoreesports.com and plays.tv. You can check out all the highlights for all the games across the Intel Stream Masters on their website. For now, for us, it's time to go to a quick break, and when we return, it's the quarterfinals, and opening up the quarterfinals is Pult versus Firecake.